Hi guys, welcome back. Yeah, let's see what we've got going here with FOMC. Let me just make sure everything's working fine. Alright, so there's been some nice setups to start with. And, alright, sorry, I'm just checking. Everything's fine, yeah. Give me a second. Alright, so let's have a squiz here. And let's see what we have in store for us. Alright, let's go here. So obviously you guys will see I'm on the June contract to start with, and that's just the this one here, which is the NQM contract. Alright, so I'm gonna actually work with this one today. I don't know what this gray block is. I don't know how to get rid of it. But I think for now, what I'm going to do is I want to mark out there's all this liquidity. And I'll mark this out. I thought this was going to be some sort of a target to go down to. And we could still see some sort of, I mean, we've run these highs. And just to mark this out, for fair value gap, it looks like we want to invert. We've got liquidity down here, there's liquidity right down there, so we just have to sit and wait and be patient here. Don't want to force trades down here, so let's just give it some time and see if this is something we either want to invert back up. This big white candle, this is the news, FOMC. So remember, this candle was black at one stage, catching all these equal lows here for a breakout to short, and then boom, went straight back up and run the liquidity up to this little gap here. And that will also be breakout traders that took obviously the buy side, and then immediately we came back into the range. And now it's just a matter of, and I'm going to take this off because as you can see, now we've came off a fair value gap, invert this little gap here, but this is not something I would trade, guys. I'm just saying there's liquidity on the top side and the bottom side here. So what we need to do now is, what I'm going to do is wait and see what we do first. Are we going to run the top side first and then come down, or like every other day, are we just going to move sideways? So obviously the AM session, I didn't live stream it. I did take some trades and made some money, and which was quite bizarre because normally those would be the time frame or a session that would be not ideal, but there were some good setups, and hopefully we can get some nice setup here today. So yeah, so all I'm going to do now is just watch it and wait patiently and not rush into anything. I know it's a bit early today, but yeah, so we can just relax. And this line here is not a moving average, this is just the VWAP that I've got on here. We can take it off. Alright, so let's see. Where do we think it's going to go first? I think we'll run those highs up first. Looks like there's some sort of momentum. But there's nothing in here that I would take to say we're going up higher. It doesn't have to go up very high. I mean, if you really look at it, if we look at these, these highs here, there's some nice equal highs. So that could be the target. And this could definitely be and I guess you guys can tell me why. This spike into this fair value gap, just like 5%, did not fill it. So this is going to be my next target when we turn around down. So obviously we've got lower equal lows down here, but this is also the target. And what we can do is mark this out as relatively equal lows as well, which is liquidity right in this fair value gap. So what we want to see is run this equal highs up here, give us some sort of a reason to short it, and then target this lows here. But let's wait patiently, guys, and don't rush into anything. So I just want to grab a screenshot of this, copy this image, and then I want to send it on my socials. Right. Okay, so let's just relax here. Just be patient. Okay, so there we at those equal highs right now. We got there pretty quickly, and now we want to see, are we actually going to close above there or spike like it's doing right now and maybe send us lower, or will it go into this little gap and run that high again? So let's just keep a close eye. Let me just see, and like I said, maybe take a bounce from there. So let's just keep an eye and see what it wants to do here. Right, so let's see if we can get that push higher there. Remember guys, we obviously like to see these equal lows get taken at some point as well. So what we want to do now, maybe these highs is liquidity. The bounce there is, it was up in there, but I would like to see something, I don't know, maybe close up and invert. Then I'm going to look for a nice short here. And then we're going to target these, again, these equal lows with a fair value gap, nice liquidity. All we got to do now is monitor this situation to get a nice entry so we don't miss out, basically. That's it. Alright, so now it's just a matter of time, guys. So let's just keep it real. Alright, so that's favorite gap hold. I don't know if you guys followed the AM session or the PM session yesterday. So one thing we followed yesterday was, remember those swing highs, and then a candle close above that. This candle closed above it, but left a fair value gap behind. Price then goes and tests that, and then continue in that direction. And that's basically what we've seen here. I know we spiked through that equal high, so this could quite easily invert it here, but I mean, those are just one of those observations we made yesterday. So maybe what we see here is, boom, price respecting this fair value gap maybe. But for this to hold now, I want to see a move down, and this fair value gap maybe get inverted here. That's where I will short it. I won't short it up here because we can still bounce and go higher. But if this is the line in the sand, this fair value gap, then if we invert this, then it would make sense for me to take a short and take it down to this fair value gap, and even lower than that. There we got some equal lows if you look to the left. But for now, we're not doing anything till this give us a real good reason to take a short. Alright guys, let me know in the comments below, is there any specific level that you guys are eyeing right now? Remember the chart I'm having here, it's the new June contract. You'll see there's a difference in price. If you compare it obviously with the previous contract, you'll see there's a difference. So if your numbers or levels look is a different number to mine, and it's probably because, and you're using the same trading view and all of that, then that's probably the reason. Right, so we could still do some stuff up here. Doesn't have to just drop and maybe give us a nice higher entry, which is also great. One thing you guys must remember is, I've seen it with other traders before, when we run at liquidity and we keep running and people feel like they're missing out on something. The further it goes away, the better it is for you. Knowing that there's liquidity down here, if it moves further away, that just gives you a better risk reward to, in this case, to short it down to this level. And if I set targets, this will be my first target, this 767, 19767 or 19760. If it's smashed through it, then I'll go for the lower target, which is at that 653. But for now, let's just 760, 19760. Okay, let me know your targets, guys. If you got targets, let's mark it out. The reason I ask for these targets, guys, which is important for us to create that game plan type of thing, to say, all right, we're at this level. I think we're going to end up today down at this level, or I think we're going to end up higher. Then you put something out there to, you know, where you're going to track it. Then you're not marrying to that level, but what you're doing is you're reading the market and you manage some sort of expectation for yourself, because it's easier to sit after the fact and say, oh yeah, this was the levels. But if the market, a live market, hasn't gone there yet, and you mark it out and you say, all right, what I want to see is I want to see this invert or go higher and give me some inversion up here. This is not going to be an A+ if we do this, because it's too many candles. You would like to see a quick move to invert. That would tell you we really want to go lower. And obviously this big candle's high and the low. This low lines up with the equal lows and the fair value gap. So that's definitely a target for me. All I need now is something that gets inverted up here. And if this is the candle, then I will look for it. If we run higher and break this high and create another fair value gap, then I'll put my focus to that. But it's important for you guys to not preempt the market, but preempt some moves and create scenarios that forms part of your rules. If you don't have rules, then you might probably, I don't know, take a short anywhere or a long and get stopped out and wonder what the hell's going on. But if you've got a game plan with rules and say, all right, the market's got to do the following stuff, then I'll be interested. Okay, well, then you've got a plan, and then you just wait for it. Or ultimately, that's what you should do. But sometimes, that piece in us to the fear of missing out, it's embedded so deep in most of us. So that's just something you got to try and focus on. If you come to the charts, that's the one thing you got to write down and say, I got to stick to rules that I put out. And that's why I've started this channel, to put rules out there and tell you guys, this is what I'm going to do if the market does that. Sometimes I don't do it, and then we'll all see what happens. But to try to keep me focused to the plan. And that's what I'm going to do in this session, and we'll see how it plays out. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2, 3 test of this fair value gap. That's nice liquidity as well. So seeing that we've got that liquidity here and bigger liquidity down here, I think that liquidity will be taken with an inversion at some point. We just want to see, are we going to go higher and create a nice entry, or what are we doing here? If you find these videos or streams helpful in some shape or form, I would like to ask you guys to don't forget to like these videos. It helps for the YouTube algo. you know, to send more people to come and have a look. And also it helps me to stay motivated to make more of these things. Okay, that's better. Alright, so let's see what we're gonna get here. I mean, guys, look at this. We stuck between two fair value gaps again. So now we just need to see if it's gonna go sideways here and then spike up and then come down and then drop. Okay, so we getting there, bouncing there. And now what we've done is we literally ran those little lows, liquidity, right to the 50% of that fair value gap and reject. So maybe this is telling us we could take this high up there again. Okay, let's look at 750. Target down here. Okay, that's a good target. That target lines up with my equal lows and the fair value gap. I do think if we slice through that, we could go even as low as this. Let's do it 650. My second target would be 19650 equals. But those are good targets at 750 level. So all we got to do now, guys, remember we're waiting patiently here, see what this is going to do. And this could be the trade to obviously in that test, take the trade. And as you can see, I took it in this fair value gap. And we call it the IFEG. That's where we took the trade. Now the target's going to be down here. Hopefully we don't see those shenanigans where we want to go and invert back up and, you know, all that other stuff that we've seen this week so far. So hopefully we get what we expect here, and yeah, take us lower. My word, guys. That is just amazing. Amazing stuff. Okay, so I'm taking that trade off because this, for some reason, I don't know, maybe it goes all the way back up into this fair value gap to test it and then smash lower. So now we just have to wait. Just amazing how the trade plays out as worst case scenario, as what I mentioned. So obviously we probably gonna take these highs out. Thought this was a nice inverted fair value gap, and then obviously took the trade there, thought it was a great trade, and then boom, stopped me out in literally 1 minute. But we didn't hold on to the trade, we closed it, so we cut our loss. And yeah, now we're in this fair value gap up here. Now we want to see if it's going to reject it or slice through it. Right, even though we took a loss there, I'm pretty confident we're gonna make it back. What I'm gonna do is I'll take this off, and this I'm not gonna use this as a IFEG because I don't have. I'm looking for something to sell off, and maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, let's keep an eye on it. Push up, push up, push up. Get something done, yeah. The one thing you need to be careful now, which is also not the best thing, is you get 1 fair value gap, 2 fair value gap, 3 fair value gap, and it keeps pushing higher. When you see them stack like that, I mean, that's one massive fair value gap on a different time frame. So yeah, just be careful. This thing could just bounce back and then go higher, create that nice fair value gap, and then invert to run lower, and then aggressively run through all of these gaps. I mean, we can bounce off this to go take this high out. I don't want to predict all of that because yeah, we just have to wait and see till we get that nice change in direction. I'm not marking this fair value gap out because there's two on top of each other, so okay, so One thing that we can take from this, and I'm just going to move it all. Let me take my face off here and make it easier for you guys to see. All right. One thing we can take from this is prices come down, ran liquidity. These little lows here, that's your liquidity. OTE, push away or shift away, pull back, nice entry, going higher, nice entry, going higher. Now this becomes that retail trend of breaking higher, lower, higher lows. We can see some sort of higher low here and then go back up. At one of these swing points, I want to see some aggressive candle close above it, and then its third candle inverted quickly. Then I would look to take a short on those. And then, as we said, there's this equal lows with this fair value gap, and then right below that is the previous day's lows. Those are all equal lows there as well. So for now, we're just going to focus on these screens and see what we're going to get from that. Hope you guys like my cup here. So let's look at this as an example. What I'm talking about on the, we obviously I fell for it because we ran liquidity and then we saw this big candle break and invert this fair value gap. But if you look at it differently, these lows are all equal. Spiked through it. We went through it again. Trap people to think we're going short, like myself, and then pause with a little candle and then suddenly aggressively invert that fair value gap, that new gap, this one here. We never got the test, so if you even took a long here, you would have been in the money here. Once you break that, you move this to break even, so your stop loss would be at break even. If we continue higher, then obviously you make some good money. If this candle is coming down, stop you out, then you haven't lost anything. You're just out at break even. Right, so for me, if I want to take any shorts here, guys, there's a gap here, which getting inverted now. There's a gap down here. So let's just see what this candle does. Maybe it's just going to use it as support, and obviously it's not a IFEG. Orange ones are the IFEGs. Let's see, you got 6, 5, 4. Okay, so now it's closing below it. No, it doesn't. Alright, so it hasn't inverted it. Then we've got another gap here. So in my mind, this thing either going to go up here to take this high, create a new gap here to invert, or if it just drops from here, I needed to invert this last one. But then, again, this is not the A plus setup that I'm looking for. And I always talk about these A plus setups, and then I still take these things. And what you need to do is A plus setups, you got to map it out. You got to know exactly what your A plus setup looks like. When it presents, you take it for what it's worth. And anything else, you got to dial back your risk to something tiny if you want to try those other setups. So if you are a 2% risk guy on your A plus setups, then you can't risk 2% on another setup. Rather do 0.5% or something to that effect. If it goes against you, like this trade I took here, I said this wasn't A plus. That would have easily just cost me 0.5%. If that was the case, if you then get an A plus setup and you risk your 2%, I mean a 1-to-1 or even a 0.5-to-1 will give you your profit on your first loss. Right, so you guys can see why I haven't taken the short here, because there's another gap here. So you invert this one to bounce off the other one, and then looks like you want to invert back. Now this isn't that bad. So we're making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. So in a retail mind, you want to see price takeout that high. So there is a lot of breakout orders waiting for this to trigger, because now we're in this trend, right? And that's where, at one of these highs, that's where the trap needs to trap people to go long and then invert to go lower. And that's the inversion I'm looking for. Alright, and we can actually mark it out to say I want to take that liquidity out. From a retail OTE traders, this is what they see. This is probably that 61%, because this is the 75%. And then they would obviously target above here, and then they'll move stop losses underneath these swing lows, these higher lows. Okay, so this one I don't like anymore. This is the one of interest at this point, unless something else happen up here. Right, see how we run that high? I would like that candle to be a fair value gap and not a pin. I mean, a pin is not bad, but there's no gaps in these white candles here. That's why I want to see that to be a bold candle, then a pin, and then an inversion. Then we can start targeting these lows lower down. See if it's gonna keep that little candle open and create like a pin here, and then a black candle inverting that. or are we just going to keep going higher? Alright, so there it fills the gap, so there's no gap. Now I'm wondering if we just gonna go higher here. Alright, while we wait for this, I want to look at something quick. There's a 2 to 1. Another 2 to 1. Okay, let's use here. Hi there. Alright, so quickly tell me the strategy. Alright, so there's a bunch of strategies here, and but the way I trade, take my face off here, the way I trade basically is fair value gaps, inverted fair value gaps, and liquidity. In this particular example here, we've got equal highs here where we obviously ran to, so that was a target. So when we were down here, if you had taken this inverted fair value gap, your target would have been this equal highs up here. Secondly is there's equal lows here, equal lows here. When there's an equal lows, that equal low and that high low there, that's fairly equal. If it's not filling, a big percentage, 70% of a fair value gap, and it's only on the top 5%, that is a great magnet for liquidity, and I'll tell you now why this one is something we need to keep an eye on. Whenever you trade red folder, the news, so I do the red folder strategy, this FOMC candle, at some point this was a black candle to the downside running these lows. So a lot of breakout traders who took a short there, and immediately we ran to the opposite where it was buys, and then we got stuck in the middle. And that is typically to trick people into longs and sells, but in this case people short first, leave the liquidity open there, and then run the high. The way you trade the strategy is you look at this candle, you mark out the highs and the lows, and you wait for the market to run the liquidity on one side. So for here, this high was run and run again, and now ran again. So it just makes higher highs and higher lows. Leaves this liquidity still untapped with this equal lows. So what I'm doing on red folder today is I'm waiting for this to play out, and then I'm targeting, in this case, the low here because there's liquidity here. Where else is there liquidity? Because people that went long, there's some people who trade OTEs on the pullbacks. Every time we make a low, that's where people put their stop losses, stop losses, stop losses, and that is all liquidity as well. So ultimately, the higher we go, the better for us. Because once we can, obviously find a turning point, and the way you would do that now, you want to see aggressive candle pushing up, leaving a fair value gap, then get it inverted. That would be my key to short, and then hold it through this liquidity, this liquidity, this liquidity, and ultimately down here. And if we slice through this, then we've got equal lows on the previous day's lows down here as well. So that's basically how we trade it. If I've got some other strategies which I'm not going to go through now, because this session is basically just for the red folder, which was this. And I said very, in the beginning, when you break out, I mean, we took a short here because of this inverted fair value gap. We did say it wasn't A+, and sure enough, we were stopped out fairly quickly. And the higher this goes, there's nothing for us to feel sad about or fear of missing out. Sure, you can take longs. There was one there. But if you keep the liquidity in your mindset and say, that is how I trade, I'm seeking liquidity, that's what you got to do, and that's the plan. We did say if we go higher, we'll just wait. And I mean, if this is now a pin, and leave this as a fair value gap, and then third candle comes and invert this quite quickly, then I would most probably think this is something for us to go lower here. So that's a bit of a mouthful there, but that's just literally telling you that I've got other strategies, and I think we can, obviously sit around on other days and talk about those strategies as well. But obviously I'm not going to go through all of them now. Right, if you guys enjoy this so far, don't forget to hit that like button for the stream. Alright, so here we go. So we've got fair value gap here. I'm not saying it's going to play out, guys. I'm just preempting this. We ran a high aggressively. If this candle, this black candle, smashes through it and close below it, I'll probably take my short there. Okay, let's see what we do here. I must say, guys, this uptrend seems pretty, I don't want to say solid because it's a 1 minute chart, but pretty intact still. That's just not a bounce off a fair value gap. And I think I've been caught with this before. This is what I'm going to tell you next. I'm so in sync with what I want to do with this. This is still there for us to target. But nothing stops us actually from, taking these entries to go higher until such time it doesn't work anymore, and then change your gears to the opposite. Right, so we got an hour still to hopefully see something. Oh, so the other thing about FOMC, guys, which I actually forgot about. So I've been trading this strategy for just over a year now, and it worked well last year. Okay, so the beginning of this year, price action was pretty all over the place, but statistically, the FOMC on a strategy normally plays out in 2 days or 2 New York sessions. So because it's late in the day, it will go in a direction, give you an entry, and if you leave that entry overnight, it might run those highs and get stopped out again, and then in the AM session the next day, it plays out. Doesn't happen all the time, but most of the time the FOMC is most probably the worst out of all of the red folder news events. The one that, or the top, NFP normally plays out very well. CPI, PPI, and what was the other one? There was another one. So this year will be the second year that I'm going to obviously collect data on this. And yeah, so this last couple of weeks, it's been hard, to be quite honest. And I expected something similar, with FOMC or this AM session. But funny enough, we had some good setups. AM session, unfortunately, I didn't obviously live stream that, but yeah, tomorrow's another day, right? Alright, so I don't know. Looks like let's have a look at this and see where this thing is heading to. I'm going to switch to another contract quickly. I'll be back to this now. And I need to update my charts because I don't know what this blocks. We're back into this fair value gap now. And alright, so this could be something. Let's do this. Alright, you guys see this highs here and this high, that could be liquidity, and we could stop around here. So let's see. Back to 1 minute, so keep an eye on it. And let's take this off. Let's keep on, see what we do up here. Maybe we stop here and do some, you know, some sideways move here. And one thing we need to mark out here, just so we stay on track with this, is equal highs. So we took these. I wonder, alright, so the 50% is probably the target because of this high, yeah. Okay, so sorry guys, can't see it. I'm looking at these highs here, and that's where we are. So I think another push up in there. And as you can see, as we go higher, entries of all these fair value gaps. Bounce, bounce, bounce. That is quite interesting. Okay, there we get that push through. There's liquidity. And it seems like we're just going to keep going, yeah. If we go through that, then Oh, we'll have to go back and see what's up higher. I know there's a lot of liquidity up higher, guys, and I'll mark them out tomorrow. And yeah, it's always good to see after FOMC where we are. Even if we don't take that lows out tonight, or this afternoon at least, guys, let's just keep an eye on it. Maybe we get some sort of a sideways move in, you know, through London, all of that. Maybe we run highs again, London tomorrow, and then New York comes, we'll see some sort of a push lower to then target those lows. Either that, or we just leave it and we carry on going up. I don't think we're going to see price just turn from here. I think if it wants to turn, it's got to give some sort of pullback, try to go again, come back, more like a sideways move, and then come back. Yeah. Let's put this on a 5 minute and see. Interesting. Interesting. Keeps going. Gosh, I don't know what these blue blocks are. I know that's the what you call it, the regular trading hours. I open my trading view and it's there, so I don't know if it's a trading view thing or what else going on here, but it is annoying as you cannot believe. $29.45, this equal highs there. I would have thought this market wants to go lower again, maybe run these lows before it goes higher, and then we've got so much line up here, so I need to get this line so this blocks off. forgot to look at that high. Sorry, guys. Let's just go back here. This high is this one, yeah. Take that one off. Could be the next liquidity. Alright, so people might think, okay, Neil, if we invert this little gap up here, why don't you take the short? Well, because we've got a gap there, we've got a gap here, we've got gaps everywhere. I want to see possibly this high get taken out. Maybe we stop right at that line and create equal highs again. This is not convincing for me right now. Maybe it works out, I don't know. I just think we might come up here again. I mean, we go straight up from here. Can it come straight down? Of course it can. I just don't like it because the market's been way too choppy in the last few weeks for me to think it's just gonna drop from the moon to the floor. Maybe this is just a little bit of a pullback to go higher. Let's see if we can get a up close candle here, then let's just see. Okay, I'm taking a long here, and I'm going to target this high. So I see that as a little bit of a pullback, and if I'm right, that high might get tested again. Amazing. Amazing, guys. Let's go stop Neil out. He's got his trades on. Even if we go sideways here, I still want to see us go for that high. Just in case anybody was wondering, why did I take my trade here? We go into a discount, and if I'm led to believe that we should go up there to maybe get close to that level there, alright, so then you should buy, try to get there. But like we can see, okay, we're out. This could be some sort of a downward move now. Because we broke lower, close below these lows. Good to see some sort of a testing here. That's the test. In this gap here, I mean, we coming out of this, there's a nice gap up there and a test of that gap. There's a gap down here, we inverted that, but maybe this was the one. Right, so that's great. Shorting that fair value gap. I think it could actually go lower. Yeah, so look, we spoke about this fair value gap earlier, but I anticipated that we might go to this high, at least because we closed outside of this fair value gap. So, but anyways, so that's a good entry though. Okay, so it looks like we're starting to close on these fair value gaps. Must probably see some sort of a, I just want to mark these out. Yeah, just keep an eye on this, and maybe if we're lucky we're going to go all the way. Yeah, I will obviously manage this trade as I go. Alright, so where could this thing pull back to? You're going to have to take this swing point, so this gap here. This could be the gap to retrace back to. Okay, I'm going to take all these off. Don't get too caught up with these. If we close below this low, this spiky low, then we'll target the next one. So that fair value gap looks like it wants to hold price. See if we can see a close below that. Maybe we just want to get to that pullback or let's see if we can get this, keep this momentum going to push lower. Hopefully this FOMC is one of those outliers where we can see our target get hit quite, during the session still. Got 34 minutes left. Okay, so there we closed below that low. We could see a test of this and then continue lower. Okay, let's see if we're going to slice through that one. Be great if we could close below that low there or invert this fair value gap. Right, so we're between a fair value gap and an inverted fair value gap. See if we can carry lower because we've closed below there. Okay, so one thing we must keep in mind here, we could see a bounce from this fair value gap, and the reason I say that is if you look at the low in this fair value gap, there's a lot of liquidity there because we haven't filled this. So that's a good place to, I'm going to put my break stop at $500 there. But that is a good place to target to take some money off the table, and then if it breaks through that, then you hold for this hold in one type of thing down here, because this could quite easily get there. Because, and also let me take my face off here and show you, if you look at this, if you take this low to that high, that's already discount, so that's a deep discount. If we want to go higher, I'm not saying we are because we're targeting lower, but that's a sensible place. If you look at this run, so I will manually manage my trade there to just make sure we stay on track here. And hopefully we just test this fair value gap that got inverted here. FVG and continue lower. Could see some sort. I'm actually going to move my stop to break even up here. I'm just worried we want to test this because we haven't tested it. So IFG, yeah. I'm just worried we want to do that, and I don't want to just get stop out for the sake of it, because I feel this is just some sort of a pullback to continue lower. If it breaks this low, I would definitely put my stop out here again. Normally I don't move my stops, I just realized that now that we could potentially go to that IFG up there again. Okay, give me a second, just gotta step away quick. Right, so it looks like we're getting close to like a stop there. But I guess if it wants to take me out here, then I do think we might just want to test that and then come down again. This will be brutal if I get stopped here and then it continues lower. Just to show you guys, we literally just filled that. My stop is right above there. And could it spike out there? Of course it can. And that's normally where the damage gets done, like the spike down here. And then it continues lower anyways. I would like to see a close below this last up candle's low. Like that. Okay, I can't take that trade. It's fine. Yeah, now I'm leaving my stop at break even anyways, because that high there, that's good. Now what we need to target next is to take out this low, and then we're going to target down here. So these two inverted fair value gaps to go test there because of these highs and then come back. I wouldn't necessarily look at this and say invert. I said earlier there's a bunch of gaps down here and we need to work our way through it. And yeah, so this type of behavior is pretty normal to me or for me, and so yeah. So now we just need to see a close below this low. There's a nice test to that IFG now. Look, if it goes up now, then it's just back to this past week. Insane. Just go lower. Luckily we've got a stop loss, guys. Takes us out, then just look for another entry, I guess. Maybe that was just another test to that IFEG. If it breaks above it, then I guess there's nothing I can say to that, because then it is what it is. That is insane. I cannot get out of these sessions, get stopped out. Just don't get it. Alright, so out of that trade again. Maybe we do up, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and maybe test this family gap up here. I don't know. Maybe this is one of those things. Remember what I said earlier. We'll get to the top here. Maybe goes in a sideways move, then run these highs. I'm not saying that's where we're going. Could possibly be, or we could just do this high here, to this low there. This is discount. Sorry, not discount, premium. If you want to sell, this is most probably the place to sell. Let's see if that's right. If that's the place to sell. Actually going to try to take this off, because I don't think that's, could potentially get through that. So much manipulation. If it drops from here, that would probably be one of the good entries, but alright, taking this off, this is the new gap. This one here, let's see. Okay, it's testing a fair value gap, inverting this one, not. So it's not inverted yet. Seems like another fair value gap. It's also good to obviously put some strict rules in place when you trade. And if I say rules, it's not just your strategy, but to say, all right, guys, I am only going to take 2 trades. If it's 2 losing trades, I'm walking away. If it's winning trades, great. If it's break even, I'm walking away. I think if you put those things out there, it will keep you out of trouble, because we've seen this last couple of weeks what red days look like, and I know that's probably one of the hardest thing is to start off on a red day, try to fight your way back. But sometimes, most of the time, that fight back turns into like a revenge fight and not a sensible trade. And that's why you need to write it down, put it next to you where you trade, so you know. If I had 2 losing trades earlier, so in theory I should have left it, but then it looked like a perfect trade, got stopped out again at break even this time. But it is what it is. If you get stopped out, it is what it is. You use the rest of the time to paper trade and to learn from your mistakes. It doesn't have to always be a mistake. It could be you entered too late, you entered too early. But that's how you're going to teach yourself to survive through losing days, because there are days where it's like a seek and destroy. No matter how many trades you take, you get swiped out on all directions. So, and then you're going to sit back and say, geez, if I left it at 2 trades, I wouldn't have walked away with 6 losing trades. So that's also a discipline that you need to enforce, or try to enforce, and eventually you've got to enforce it. And that will teach you a lot about yourself. It sounds simple what I just said, but let me tell you one thing, it could be one of the hardest things you've ever done, especially if you trade with real money and you hit 2 losing trades and something sets up and you're like, geez, this is perfect. Take that trade, get swiped out again, and you're like, oh, I should have just left it. Then you walk away, you cross, you're angry and all of that. And I think that's why you got to go in that mindset to say, listen guys, or listen to myself, 2 trades, if it's 2 losing ones, we're walking away. But don't put your stop that far so it's 2 big losers, and try to keep it open-ended, and that's even worse. Make sure, give yourself, I don't know, if you want to risk, I don't know, 2%, if you're happy to do something like that, then maybe break it up into 1%, 1%. If you're right, you're still going to make money though. If you're wrong, you're not going to lose that much. You're still going to stick to 2%. If it's 2% each, it could turn into a 4% day. And till you obviously get to a point where you're confident that you will take the right trades. And let me tell you, I think I don't care how experienced you are, it's just the nature of this beast, or the way this game gets played. There are going to be days where you're going to feel like the market is killing you, because everything you take, I can tell you guys now, we know this is going to be a target. We know this is going to be a target. The market's going to get there. What it does in between is making you better off or worse off. And all you got to do is remember, I wanted to enter it here, I did not. We bounced there, we came up there aggressively, making us believe we're going higher, and now we invert this. So in theory, I'm not allowed to take a trade, but in theory that could be the test to take a short again, or it could run up again. So yeah, some manipulation today. It looks like it. I think there was some nice trades on this uptrend. I didn't take it because I had a different plan here. If you look at this after the fact now, I mean, this is a sensible place to take a short, right? Because the bias is down. It's above liquidity. It's above the equilibrium, which is not discount. Anyways, it's premium, and that's the only fair value gap above here. It's nothing here, so that was a sensible place to actually short this. So that would have been a nice short. You would have had a tight stop on this. I mean, if I look at last week or NFP week, that was insane. Felt like there's no way anybody could have made money there. Alright, so this doesn't look like it wants to get all the way up there. Look, anything above the candles high here, in my opinion, it's still good value. Obviously, you want to get right on the top here, but it's still giving you, I mean, I don't feel like entering down here, but yeah, it's unfortunate that we're going to see this, and you're going to see 1, 2, and if you really look at it this way, you can actually take this as a measured move and say, alright, from that high, and see where that low ends, right at that fair value gap's 50%. So where do we think we're going? We're going right there. What we're going to do there, I don't know. We've got to see if we want to bounce there to make another pullback like this one. Maybe another one up here. Maybe this leaves a fair value gap. Because if you then take it from here to the 50% there, that fair value gap would be in a prime spot to short. mean, I'm going to short it here just to show you guys. And I'll take that measured move off because I'm not a pattern trader, but this is most probably where we're going to go. I mean, we could now come and test this fair value gap. Or just drop. And again, remember what we tested yesterday. We closed below swing point and it leaves a gap. That's where you want to look to enter for that test. Look, end of the day, if you took this entry up here, I mean, you could have sat through this. You would have been at break even already. You would have put your stop here now, and you would just not worry about a trade. And no, you want to get down here and even lower and. So this makes sense to test this fair value gap. But then there should be some sort of a rejection. Remember what I said earlier, we got the swing point here, closed below, fair value gap, so we could have waited for this to then short it up here. As you can see, very minimal drawdown, and hopefully we can close below this low here now and take us lower. Or just go back again. I hope we see that fair value gap down here at least a run before market finish, and that's your liquidity level right there. Okay, so now just leave my stop there, just in case we decide to pull one of those shenanigans to go up higher again. It's a nice move if we can close like that. Off. Guys, what I've also seen, you know, looking at a move like this, market out, fair value gap, all great, get into a trade and the market comes down, and stop exactly on that line, creating equal lows. Then runs up all the way to the top, taking all these highs out, and then the next day or 2 days later go and take those liquidity out. That's just how it goes, and there's nothing you can do about it. Only thing you can do is move your stops to break even, not aggressively too quick. But you know, to read the market, especially if you're down there, you got to move your stop to break even, because if something like that happens, you either collapse the trade or you take no money. I mean, collapse the trade at a profit at that point in time. Here's another one. Close below this low, aggressively forms a fair value gap. There's a nice test in the fair value gap to short it from there again. Guys, just doing this, what I'm showing you guys, closing below that low, fair value gap, test short, doesn't work for every single fair value gap that you see. You got to have context to say we are on our way to a liquidity, so anything that forms like this should hold price. I mean, the nice thing about this is, see how that 50% hold price, you would expect something similar here, and I need this black candle to close below the swing points, not spike, close, because then you can see stuff like that happen. Go all the way back up, testing that fair value gap. Okay, let's see, back at that 50% of that fair value gap. Let's see if that's going to hold price, or it's, I don't know. Let's see if we measure this, where premium sits. Premium is spiking above there and hopefully close within the fair value gap again. We need that candle to close within that fair value gap, not the top one. The body needs to close within this gap here to expect some sort of a push lower. If it closes above here, then we might want to run this high again. Boom, stop me out, and then do what it needs to do. Just like that. Let's see if we're lucky that this thing continues lower, or does it really want to go stop me out. Finding support in that fair value gap that got inverted to the top side. I still believe you want to go lower and not do anything crazy to the top side. Not a good sign though. But hey, what do you know? Maybe we get a nice punch lower. Alright, so this is the problem, guys. I actually lost track of time here. We're at 4 o'clock. Normally we see 4 o'clock price is just doing nothing. And that was probably the cutoff for this trade. I probably shouldn't have taken that trade. And like I said, FOMC tends not to play out in that same session. So what I'm going to do is, guys, I'm just going to take this thing off. Take a small profit on that. That's fine. Look, I'm up $900 for the day. It's not something great, and the reason I say that is I was up 2,000 for AM, and then I came into the PM and lost it all, or lost most of it. So yeah, so let's see if we're actually going to get there. I'm not going to hold on to this trade. I'm happy for us to just watch and see how it plays out. I do feel tomorrow we'll do better. So there'll be an opportunity tomorrow. We'll make money tomorrow, and I'm sure of that. And yeah, so hopefully you guys learned something today, and hopefully it helped you guys in some sort of way with your journey, get to know trading, or maybe you all know trading but to get better at it. So yeah, if there's anything that you feel I can focus on more explaining or take you guys through it, happy to do so. But for now, I think I'm going to end the stream here, and because I don't think it's worth taking any trades past 4 o'clock time window. Yeah, then again, thanks for your support, guys. If you haven't yet, it would be great if you guys can like this video or the stream. It helps. And yeah, give me some comments if there's anything that you guys want me to, I don't know, focus, or maybe questions that you want me to ask. If I don't answer it now, I'll definitely look to answer it in the next live stream, or come back to the next live stream and let's talk about it then. But I'm going to drop off now. Thanks again. Don't overtrade, guys. Be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Just for now. Bye-bye.